I think probably our top priority is something like a constitutional amendment to block the growth of government growing faster than our population and inflation and so forth. You know, that's basically like putting a belt on government. You know, government gets bigger and fatter, and you know the belt just blocks you from growing past a certain point. Constitutional amendment is driven by the vote of the people. I think that's probably the best thing to do, because I don't know that our legislature has exhibited great responsibility in this area. The individual work that we have to do as legislators, we got to block wasteful spending. You know, I've had my own times with being the one person who stands up in the House and saying, you know, why do we need this? You know, do we really need a registry for state interior designers? And that's a budget. You know, that's a budget vote I won. And you know, they couldn't get the 75 votes that they needed, and so then they had to play these procedural games where they actually brought that up for another vote and refused to let us discuss it, but instead had the vote immediately. But we ended up consolidating that agency and another agency. We ended up getting rid of some wasteful spending and bringing a couple of agencies to the end of their natural life. Probably the most important thing we can do in order, as legislators, in order to make sure that we have the blessings of liberty to which we're entitled, we got to make sure that we have tax parity with other states like Texas and Tennessee. We need to have tax cuts. We're competing with states like Texas and Tennessee that have a 0% income tax. We got a 7% income tax. I've talked to employers who say, you know, I got to decide whether I'm going to put my plant in West Memphis or East Memphis, and I'm realizing that, you know, my employees and I are going to lose 7 cents out of every dollar if we place it here in Arkansas. So we got to have tax cuts that lead to a healthier economy, that lead to more growth for the private sector and less growth for the public sector. I sure agree with Jeremy that we need to have a hiring freeze. Regrettably, we've had a hiring freeze for, I guess, about the last 10 years. That's what they technically call it, and yet mysteriously, they seem to play games with the budget where they keep on hiring more employees. So I don't understand exactly how our current hiring freeze works, but it's clearly not working very well. I'll say finally, we've got to change our culture. Our culture in the legislature is very sympathetic to growing government and having government manage more stuff that we do. We actually had a proposal which passed to have study hall in buses every day. They gave all the kids laptops. They had video links so people could lecture to these kids. They were driving back and forth in school buses. We have to get to the point where we realize that these ideas are not only bad, but kind of silly to expand the growth of government and to expand the regulation of government and the role of government in our lives. So fundamentally, we need not just a political change, we need a cultural change to go back to the government that our founders wanted, and to make sure that we have fundamentally our rights to life and liberty, pursuit of happiness. We guarantee our constitutional rights and not anything like a right to welfare. Thanks.